That's what we had for you. Okay, Matt. The best part is you hate using stats. You are the color caster, and you never use stats. The only time you've done it is to throw shade at Scott. Otherwise, you just ignore it. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, because most of the time, like okay, now that Scott's gone, we can all agree Scott was like not like a terrible player, but like on a pretty not great Dallas Fuel team at the time. But that's kind of why I don't love stats at times, because it's really difficult in Overwatch to have good individual stats and performances on like bad teams, where there are good players on some of the teams that don't win, but when you're losing 9 team fights in a row and you're losing them at like, you know, lightning record speed, you're going to have a lot of deaths. I mean, that's just going to happen, right?
All you're saying is context matters. That's literally all you're saying. But that doesn't invalidate stats. I think like we've found plenty of opportunity. Okay, let's take this matchup for example, right? Because we want to talk about stats. Let's talk about Kalios, big damage, Mr. Big Deeps himself. The guy put out his stats, remember, like back in the Junker Queen meta, right? Obviously, the framing was very specific there, but he had like really high damage, right? We had to look a little bit deeper to sort of look at the ups and downs of that Justice tank line, which is something that's still going to be an issue in a matchup like this.
Yeah, and I think, though, the Justice, right, you don't really have anything else you can do with this roster. Like, the roster is going to be what it is at this point. And I think you still have to be pretty happy with how Kalios is, like, played. I think you put him on heroes like the Zarya, like D.Va. We've seen him play some Risa. Heroes that we know he can have success with. And I also think there needs to be a level of kind of consistency with the team, right? We haven't seen like him and Decay really team up a lot. Let's take a look at the Shock roster though to start things off, because they have some interesting stuff here today.
Absolutely.
To kick things off. So a little bit of a different roster than we saw during the last tournament. No changes in the supports. Why would you ever do that? Proper, he's never coming out. So you have Mikey in for your main tank, or just the tank role, and then you have Sam coming in here as a damage dealer. So this is quite interesting. I wonder what this means. Like, you know, Sam has always played like the Genji, right? He's played like Echo. We've seen some teams like even mess with some Hanzo, like, so maybe we see some Hanzo out of Sam. And then I imagine that any type of meta that we see Tracer being played, which we've seen a decent amount thus far, you'll have Proper in the game.
Man, we had so much discussion about like, I think over the last few weeks, right, about like what was an issue for the Shock and you know, why they weren't able to go as far in the Summer Showdown as they could. But like, I don't think none of the argument was about how good Proper was, right? This guy, you know, even on a losing team was incredible, but he showed that, you know, just Proper having a fantastic day, a fantastic group of days, wasn't enough to get them out of that situation.
Do you think they play some stuff kind of like the London Spitfire do with the Wrecking Ball play as well? Yeah. Like, we've seen Mikey play a ton of the ball when
Mikey's a Winston player as well, so especially on control, that's probably a pretty solid pick for San Francisco. We know Kaluch can do it as well, but it might be like even on certain maps that come up on Oasis, the Wrecking Ball might feel like a slightly better option. I spoke to Sam in Toronto, and he said, you know, honestly, Mitch, like, I don't always know, looking at a meta, I don't always know in advance if it's going to be a stage or a tournament where I'm going to get a lot of play time. You know, sometimes I look at the patch notes and go, okay, this is me, and then it turns out it's a lot of Kilo, a lot of Proper. So Sam basically has to stay sharp all year around, not really knowing when he might get brought in as a bit of a specialist or someone to facilitate for Proper. It's possible that we just see him play something like Sombra, Matthew.
He's had a really good season too, before we talk about the Justice. Right? Like, Sam is a player where I think when a lot of people saw him get signed for the Shock, you were kind of like, oh, well, when is he ever going to play? And we've seen him play a decent amount, like earlier on in the season, you know, and time sprinkled out, you know, through the last 2 stages. But he's always played pretty well when in. Let's take a look at the Justice lineup. You should not be surprised here. Krillin opener, Kalios, Decay, and Assassin. For me, like, it's not even, for them, it's just about the coordination. Like, they were not able to really follow up like Assassin EMPs and hacks the other day with whether it be Decay or Kalios. It seems a little bit more disjointed in this meta than they were in the Summer Showdown.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, look, this is the kind of metagame that's pretty open for them. We saw them try and play. You know, I think, well, Kalios attempted some Orisa action. There was even sort of flashes of Junker Queen here. So it's pretty clear to see that the Justice, they want to play compositions that center around very aggressive, very impactful frontliners. Kalios doesn't really want to be utility focused as far as we've seen. Against the Dallas Fuel though, the Justice really struggled with Dallas slowing the game down. made it very, very hard for Kalios to have the impact that he was looking for. Again, we know, Assassin and Decay and a Tracer Sombra setup are really more than proficient. No doubt about it. They managed to take a map off the fuel, if you recall. But here against the Shock, I mean, strength of schedule is pretty brutal for this team. And someone like Proper, if we get to see his Genji, I expect more Tracer, but his Genji is like #1 in final blows, lowest in deaths, most efficient Dragon Blades, 1.2 kills per blade, and that was in a meta that had Rally and Beat, right? That's how it comes into this week. So whichever hero you see Proper on, and what this team does, and they've said that, they like to set Proper up for success. Right? They like to invest in him and make sure that he can have a huge impact. This is a meta game where if he's on Tracer, tough to funnel resources into the Tracer, man. Like, how do you invest in a Tracer? Right. Like, what do you do to set her up? You really just have to rely on Proper to do his thing.
And this lineup could be pretty devastating for the Shock. We'll see. Do they play a Pharah here for? I mean, it looked like they were kind of having Proper on the Tracer, which I fully expect. Tracer with the Zen or something like that, I think would be really strong. As they actually have Violet go on the Brig, so they'll play the Brig Ana here with the Tracer Sombra. Nothing too surprising here from the Shock. The Justice, we've seen them play already. It'll be Kalios on the Doom.
Right, so slightly different compositions. We've seen these match up before. The Doom comp naturally wants to be, instigating a lot of these engagements. Mikey looking to try and get a little bit of space here. Look at he throws the bubble close to his own team, and Kalios gets caught inside of it. No healing for him. Everybody knocked off that high ground, and a really calculated start here for the San Francisco Shock. Dismantling the Justice's plans make it impossible to keep Kalios up. He's switching straight away.
Yeah, as they get to the high ground, and with that Ana, you're able to just hit a big biotic grenade on the Kalios. He gets hacked and taken out instantly. As now the Justice, they'll switch, and they'll be playing the Brig with the Zen and a D.Va as the tank. So the D.Va with the defense matrix, good against the Ana. It's like always been an interaction that's been pretty good. And then they'll actually have the Discord Orb in play for some just extra damage, trying to burst some of these players down after those hacks come through. They tried this the other day, and this is what I was talking about, where they just were not able to coordinate.
You're trying to punish the Winston, right, in a big way. Krillin, though, is able to find Proper first. Looks like he was hacked by Assassin at some point. Krillin has eyes for the main tank right now, but with the bubble up, that's a bit more of an issue. Doesn't quite make the jump there, and Krillin's able to find Sam as well. Really putting this player in a position to show a lot of his aim and his positional chops. The Justice turned that around nicely, starting off with a kill on Proper.
Yeah, and the Discord proves to be extremely strong, right? You're able to get a kill on a Proper right away. And as long as Opener and Kalios can kind of keep Krillin alive, that's kind of the game plan here. You're going to see success from the Justice. So they get a fight win, already creeping up towards where the Shock have in terms of overall percent.
Mikey probably has to play a little bit differently now, as opposed to going up against an Ana Lucio backline. So let's see how he approaches this. Try unseat Kalios, unclear Violet.
Huge pulse bomb.
Yeah, hit with the pulse there. Mikey nanoed as he tries to go in here. He's found Krillin. Unsure if he's going to be able to find too much more. The Primal is going to be invested, so he'll push Opener away here. Opener pretty close to the Mega Health Pack, but he's prevented from getting inside that center room. But the Justice still have control for now. Kalios was slept for a time, so nicely done by Finn to buy a lot of extra time for Mikey to have unfettered access to his intended targets. And Kalios will be demeched here.
And that's a huge pulse bomb from Decay to kick things off, because that's a rally that's going on for Violet at the time. And Violet gets taken out by Krillin as he's back in the fight. Transcendence, EMP comes through from Sam, but the Transcendence is there in time.
Really awkward timing, I think, there for the San Francisco's EMP, especially losing Mikey as early in the fight as they do. Body Grenade was also good from Finn. EMP bio, and still not enough to sort of turn the fight around. The Justice never lost the point.
The EMP comes from the Shock. It's either like right as Krillin's using his Transcendence or right after.
Yep.
Yeah, it looked like it was a little bit after, so maybe just a tad bit late there from Sam.
I think Krillin wanted to use it anyway, regardless of whether there was going to be an EMP. He was getting pressured down by Mikey there. Kalios sleeping once more. Opener's going to have the rally here, and the Justice pushing Shock back inside their own spawn. Shaky stuff from San Francisco here. And the Justice want to try and shut them inside their own part of the map here. Decay controls the health pack in the middle part of the map, and Proper's pulse bomb goes awry. He follows soon after here. A very average start for the San Francisco Shock, a classic Shock control showing.
And once the Justice made those changes away from the Doomfist and then brought in the Zen and the Brig, it was not competitive. The Justice just dominated from there on out, so fully expect them to continue on with this comp. And what do the Shock opt to go with here? I think they're the team now in the position that needs to make some changes. Take a look. This is probably a pulse bombing here. Yeah.
There it is. Proper, almost throws it over his shoulder like it's salt for good luck. Kalios is ready for it though.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, if you spill salt or yeah, so you pour it into your hand, right, and then you sort of sprinkle it with the other sort of thumb and forefinger. In some cultures, it's common to throw it over your left shoulder for good luck. Yeah.
I learn something every day casting with you, man.
There you go. Yeah, the tough part for you is that you don't know if it's actually true or not.
Right, and then also just like remembering it, right? Like I'll be like, oh, that's cool now, and then in an hour I'll forget.
Then it's just entertainment, Matt. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Mikey hacked here. Orisa versus Orisa, Matthew. Both teams opting into the matchup. Sam, I mean, geez, a DPS lineup. He's so interesting. Proper's going to be on the Echo.
Yeah, and you have Sam playing the Hanzo, so like just a way slower type of composition here from the Shock, where the Justice, they decide to keep the Sombra and the Tracer in with the Orisa. So they essentially just swap out tank here, and now they'll go back to the Doom. So you won't bring in the same supports that you had with the Doom originally. I believe they had like an Ana in the mix with the Doom at the start. But the Shock, I mean, look at this type of composition, right? With the Batiste, the Orisa, like Zen, like Hanzo in the mix. It can do some big burst damage, right, with the Hanzo, and then some follow-up with the Echo, but really it's about a lot of survivability.
Yeah, the Justice moved the emphasis off of Mikey and onto the backline now. They really, again, like we've seen over the last couple of days, probably want to ignore the Orisa as much as possible. It's hard, though, because Mikey sat right in that side room with the rest of the Shock here. K's Pulse Bomb is more of an ornamentation on the door frame, but Sam has fallen to Krillin. There's an Ant Matrix in play, though. Decay trying to play towards the right, so he's not susceptible to that. And then Immortality Field is down. Now the Shock have to strike back, and there it is. Mikey gets in there. Proper's burst damage is good, and Decay, yeah, pinned to the wall.
But
macabre bit of art.
Right, but that's the thing, though, right? They can't go in and be able to finish off all those kills onto Violet and Finn. The Ant Matrix is there, and it's good. You have Mikey there with some help to be able to just kind of like body block some damage, and also with the spear. And if you can't get those kills in time, you don't have a ton of healing here for the Justice, right? With the Zen and the Brig.
Finn has about 17,000 healing per 10 after that.
Well, how do you feel about the Doom pick into
Not
this?
good. No, not good.
I'm not entirely sold on the Doom. That'll be the Transcendence right after that EMP, so you're gonna get nothing with that. You had difficulty keeping the Doom alive when he had like easier targets in play. I mean, now he's having to, dive into the Orisa, the Hanzo, the Zen with an Immortality Field. Like
it's the latter. It's the Immortality Field, right? Doom wants to get in with the help of his flankers and get a kill in and get out, cycling his cooldowns, right? You can't do that against Immortality Field. And then you give Proper the window to burst you down with that ridiculous combo before you can even block. So many things work against your Doom
round
comp.
happened.
And yeah, it was a game of Overwatch that was played. Yeah.
Why go away from the Diva there? I mean, I guess the Discord obviously is can be quite difficult, maybe, but
you can't play the same way on this map with the Shock. I don't think.
Yes, you can. I agree with you there. I don't think you can kind of like play for high ground with a BAP and an Orisa like Hanzo and Echo. I don't think you can do that. I think they probably have to go back to something that looks a little bit more like round one. And you already see kind of making the adjustments. Probably going to play the ball here versus the Winston. I just wonder, you saw the Doom not work out at the beginning of the first round. And then you actually had great success coming in here and playing this Diva type of composition. Yeah, maybe stick with that. Maybe try it again. I don't know. You may have just kind of given away that round. And now, obviously, it goes down to a one-round game.
Well, again, Kalios probably needs to play for Krillin. To set him up as much as possible. We get Violet Zen here, the Wrecking Ball composition. He opts to give up the high ground. Mikey's probably getting a bunch of information as he tries to circle the middle part of the map here. Kalios probably less interested in diving unless Decay or Assassin has someone lined up on a silver platter for him, so more defensively oriented here than maybe the Doomfist is. I'm sure Dante is kind of peel oriented even as a Doom. We digress. Here's a pile driver. Kalio's down to half health here. This poke, this extended neutral, I guess, is starting to take its toll on the Orisa's health. Violet's under a lot of pressure though, and Decay finally finds his target there. So that's the Discord Orb of Krillin helping out there as well.
Yeah, but it's going to be Proper who finds Assassin, so you lose out on your Sombra here. That's pretty difficult as you have the extra damage, more of an Assassin than just kind of your Hackbot from Overwatch 1. As this will be a difficult point though to get back though for the Shock, so you should be able to get a lot of percentage here for the Justice.
Okay, losing Krillin, that's huge. One of the biggest consistent sort of damage dealers on the Justice now, and the comp you think would be tailored to keep him standing, with Opener also missing now. It doesn't matter how durable you are, you've got no healing. You're getting out pretty quickly. Finn may have fallen, but Violet can hold the fort. He switches off the Zen to the Brig.
Yeah, they need a little bit more help, I think, with Decay, right?
Yeah, it's a respect to Decay.
Sure. I think that's for sure what it is.
Also, you can farm a ton of Inspire healing Matt off the whip shot, right? Just keep hitting the Diva. You can't stop her. She's an easy target.
True. Yeah, I think it's more to just probably keep himself alive longer, and then also Finn as well. Let Proper kind of play really aggressive, go for the back line of the Justice.
Sam lifts his translocator here. Pretty good EMP lineup potentially. That'd be quick. Okay, he's got Krillin. Yep. Flip back somehow for the Justice. The Shock maybe just like backing off in order to make use of the EMP at a later point, or maybe try and force some commitment from the Justice. The EMP was great, but ooh, that's like 10 to 15% you just lost by letting it flip back.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be close to a tie game, probably in the lead at this point. Maybe they just allowed them to walk onto the point, line up a big EMP, right? Because now Assassin, he has his EMP with double supportal. So Justice in a pretty good spot to potentially even like be able to flip this back. And with that extra 10%, I mean, that's massive.
Wrecking Ball there, Mikey hacks, he drops down, and very quickly Proper though, descends on Assassin, forces the translocate out. Here's the rally from Open and out, Decay's hacked at the moment. Mikey just gonna roll away, maybe just contest this point for as long as possible, buy time for Proper to get where he needs to be. But that's a 3-player Bionic Grenade. Krillin waits it out, then goes for the Transcendence here. Tries to make sure he gets value, and the EMP from Assassin is pretty darn good. Sam takes him down in the end, but the damage is already done. Mikey's very low, Violet was hacked, but Rally is in play. Mikey picks up a mega health pack and is trying to return to the fight, but it's not quickly enough to save Violet. He spends too long away. I think Sam and Mikey now have to try and hold this down for as long as they can.
Well, with the ball into Sombra and potentially even Tracer in play, I was going to say you could have done it for a little bit, but you lose out on Mikey. So you end up gaining an extra 15-20% there towards the end for the Shock. So now you need, one fight, send it into last fight territory here for San Francisco. The Justice, they use a lot of ultimates to take that, but Krillin with an early pick on Proper. I mean, that is massive there. That's going to buy a lot of time.
This is 6th of the map, Matthew. Tied for highest final blows alongside Opener and Decay. Big output from this back line of the Justice. Krillin has a great position to do work here. That's why Kalios is sat not too far away to facilitate him. Just
and
throw
now
in that Discord.
Sam. So now you wait again, right? The Shock may only actually get one more shot at this, which is crazy considering this is like 60% when the Justice got it back.
Yep. One more fight here for San Francisco, and it's awkward. They're going to be taking fire the whole time, all with Discord getting slapped on them if they try and step up and contest, but overtime has been triggered by Proper. Decay's going hunting now. Bomb on Finn. That's basically the game. What a stick. It's perfect, and he gets 2. Violet falls by the wayside as well. And Decay bites his time. Pops up at the perfect moment here. And the Shock don't know what hit him. Now in overtime, Proper has to wade in here, but his Pulse Bomb gets chewed up once more. He's spent quite a few of those for the Korean future Dyson. And the rally up for Opener now means that it's going to be impossible to break through on the Justice. Mikey rolls away. And the Justice take the first map.
Look, we've seen this story before with the Justice. We just got to see it over the course of the whole series, but they looked really strong there in that first map. Just put away some of those Doomfist comps. You know, the Diva, Kalios looks really good on it. It's working right now. If that's what the Shock continue to run as the series goes on, similar compositions, with the supports playing the way they are and Kalios on the Diva, I mean, that's a series they could steal potentially.
4 final blows in the last fight for Decay. He ends at 10-4. Proper had 12 of his own. Traces really headlining the DPS rosters here, and no surprise, it's a good meta for superstars like these two. Who knows how the rest of the series will go now? We know what to expect. Stick around. The Shock have a bit of ground to make up.
had to kill Decay.
The 1v1 on the card now. Drew boots him away, but it's going to be a blink forward to keep Decay there. The man is still alive.
Look at this opener. And oh, look at that too. They got sent to the skies.
Kalios ready with a rampage here.
Welcome back, everybody. Yes, well, it's another day in the San Francisco Shock office. We have the meme posted after map 1 goes the way it tends to. And we're back to business. But in the Justice House, there's got to be some big smiles because, I mean, they really were able to adapt very effectively, Matt, against what San Francisco brought out in that first round on Oasis, right? They started slow, a little bit of a dodgy second round up against a Orisa bunker set up there on University. A little bit hard to break, but hey, they come out on top in the end. Pretty impressive stuff for the Justice.
And we have some subs for the Shock, right? So they bring in Kaluge, they bring in Kilo. We've seen Kaluge on Eichenwald in the past end up playing some D.Va. And we've seen more D.Va this tournament than I feel like anyone thus far. So potentially some D.Va in the mix here for San Francisco. For the Justice, I'm interested to see if the D.Va does come out for the Shock, how they opt to go about it. Maybe we do see the Kalios Doom come out, and it's just some of those compositions that the Shock were running were difficult.
Subs here for the Shock, right?
Yeah.
Going to a second round. Yeah, I mean, Eichenwald obviously is the kind of map, but we saw the Shock be one of the first teams in the West, Matt, trying to push, like that D.Va look. They slow and steady. It was the first time we sort of saw Kaluge show us that hero in the Overwatch League, and we realized that, hang on, people aren't playing D.Va the way they used to when she was one of 2 tanks, right? It's much slower. You're much less dive-oriented. You're much more concerned about setting up your backline to do work here. And the Shock showed us this play style that really involved us sequentially taking important parts of the map as they attacked and just try and move that card up nice and slow. So I'm curious to see what they have for us now. Okay, dude. Okay, dude.
All right.
Did
not expect this.
Oh my God.
What are you gonna say?
I tried to make it somewhat intellectual, like, oh, look, I'm really interested to see what I have here. Like, Shock are really on the bleeding edge of technology here and Eichenwald, and then we see this. So what on earth have we got here, Matthew? You want to talk us through this, mate?
Yeah, so you got our man Torb out here. He'll be probably dropping a turret for some crossfire. You have the Ash for some long range damage, and then I guess you want the Junker Queen like bait them into brawls, right? Junker Queen probably survivability is like really strong still. And all right, so I'm interested. What do the Justice do when they see this?
What a day for
There's
Shock
nobody inside. Okay, so the first thing you see is a Torb jumping up on the roof.
This is decay erasure. That's what this is. I think the Shock. What a day for them to be the away team. Just
Soldier Moira. Okay, what?
Okay.
Well, they're just switching everything. All right, so we're back on the Doom, which it's interesting because a lot of the Doom doesn't have slow back, right? Where that was something that a lot of players were like, hey, if the slow comes back, maybe it kind of helps the Junker Queen playing against it. Not bad. And also, like, the Doom into just taking the constant damage from Torp turret's going to be a little bit annoying. But maybe you can just collapse for some, like, really fast bursty kills with the Echo.
Oh, Proper tries to round on Assassin. How frightening is that? Kaluge puts his dukes up, but he's going to have to get out. Cool again, though. My God. Finds a key kill there. Fortunately, hard to convert that into too much, unless Decay just, I guess, does that. The long-range poke here. The Shock are falling foul of it right now.
I like the Genji swap better than the Echo.
Okay.
I think it's a little bit better to, kind of collab here with Kalios. Goes right on top of Proper. That's the thing, like, who do you dive here, right? Like, because Proper, can overload and he's difficult to take out on the Torb, right? You have the turret, you have, Immortality Field. Who do you dive in this type of situation? It's really interesting. Yeah, it's not a great target.
So, yeah, something we saw in Korean Contenders as well is that you have this Junker Queen backed out with a Baptiste, right? She gets to continue to play aggressively. Yes, commanding shout doesn't give her and her teammates the same level of durability, but her playing inside a Immortality Field, being able to get like big carnage swings is huge. What do you make of this switch here to Zarya?
So, on the Oasis map, where they kind of played the Doom and just got rolled by the Orisa, I actually thought like Zarya could have been an answer there. I just don't know, like, can you get the Zarya in position, right, without like a Lucio? Like, what? Like, the Shock don't need to come to the Justice, right? I mean, they can play pretty far away. And honestly, maybe a Nano Blade just makes all of these problems go away, as Assassin's very close to
Maybe
us.
it's just like your brute force solution here.
Yeah.
Oh my kilo, nicely done. That's got to be a problem for the Justice, isn't it, man? Nano Blade? Or like no Blade to speak of. Kalios stuck inside the room is Bob. Will be chilling on the point right now. And Immortality
So
feels
they
down.
ended up
Okay.
nanoing Kalios here, so you don't have the ability to nano Blade.
That seems like perhaps...
I actually think the Zarya, if you had like the speed to actually get in and use the bubbles and play with the Genji, would be fine. You are gonna play like Lucio Zen though. I mean, that's a bit of a throw, isn't it?
I mean, it's not great. Definitely not a
Assassin
strong
has to be so
combination
careful.
of
He can't just
supports.
like walk around the corner and just get
Assassin
again.
is dealing with Immortality field here, so even a Blade, nano otherwise, hard to see him getting a ton of value. Right now, Kilo hiding, knows that Decay is sort of on the hunt here with this overclock, and Decay's got to come up with
Yep,
nothing.
well-
He'll have 100 charge.
Yeah, so he uses the overclock, and Finn actually uses the Amp Matrix, so he doesn't want to like go out and poke into it. I think he's a little bit scared. His Proper has been over to the Genji now, as he's got a Blade of his own.
He built that so quickly, Matthew. That's actually insane.
Yeah.
Proper built that very fast. Here it is. Okay, Carnage opening got a hit with the Biotic Grenade there, or rather the anti-heal effect from Kaluj as his Carnage came through. The Rampage. Assassin able to deal with Proper there over the top of the point, and it will be the Justice being able to move in here. Felt like a bit of a brute force solution there, Krillin's Transcendence.
It's honestly, if they don't get that kill on Violet, I don't know if that fight goes the same exact way. They get that kill on a Violet early, and he's got the Transcendence, which that may have been enough to kind of like, whether it's like save Kaluj or keep some other players alive a little bit longer. This is where I think the Justice comp will struggle with the Zarya. Is like trying to access this high ground is like actually just like impossible with Zarya. This is where like teams like to play the Diva in this type of scenario.
All right, so still with the Zarya. Again, something we kind of speculated, right, would be a look for Kalios, something he felt comfortable on. His destiny being in his own hands is definitely the way he prefers to play. But again, like playing the Orisa, you try and send the Zarya up the castle, right, and sort of take a fight. Not always the best when you have a team that can
Now, granted,
disengage.
Kaluj on the Queen can't exactly play for the high ground either, right?
Okay, wow, a lot of defensive utility there, Matt. You have to get some value now as Kaluj wants to go forward. Kilo hit pretty hard on that high ground. Here's Bob to try and deal with Assassin. And yet, Proper be able to burn him down there through the deflect with the focusing beam. Kilo has lost the Bob. Proper there just wants to get some info without taking too much damage, but that's not easy to do at this level. And you see Krillin then gives him a close shave. Big kill for Decay there as Proper needs to sort of bide his time. Amp Matrix, my God, that's definitely a personal Amp Matrix for Violet, as they often are.
This has devolved into chaos. I mean, there's like 3 little fights going on everywhere. Assassin now is able to pick up 2. I think this would be playing out way differently if like the Shock were playing. Maybe it's like a Winston or a Diva, right? Because now we see teams when you come around that first corner, you can sit up on that high ground on the defensive side, right across from the castle. And you can really make it difficult and like costly. Because you're not able to do that as Queen, it doesn't really make the Zarya not having access to the high ground that impactful. Like you can actually still play the Zarya perfectly fine. And this ends up working out for the Justice, as they're really close to taking the second point.
Here's the Blade for Assassin now. Commanding Shout already come out, so there's no more for Kaluj to defend himself with. And it's an absolute massacre. The Justice push the Shock back inside the castle there. San Francisco, once you see them start to get out of formation, start to fall apart a little bit, that's how the Justice really look to try and take advantage.
And you just stay on this, I guess, if you're the Shock, as this has looked really good for the Justice. I'm happy to see we've kind of like, for them, like, not really kind of going to those Doom compositions. I think Kalios on the Zarya, especially because we know he's been a really good Zarya in the past, right? Having the access to the 2 bubbles, whether it's like both for Assassin or for himself,
He deflected that.
is sick. Oh man, that's a really early kill here. As Kilo now, I mean, nothing you can do here.
Been a tough one. Kilo started really hot in this map, Matthew. On that defense, looked really comfortable. Now things are getting out of hand, though. Finn trying to sleep somebody. Violet with the Transcendence in play. It looked like Kelly's almost trying to like body block that in some fashion to get the kill. But Kilo's able to reposition, wrap around, deal with Assassin and opener now. Kilo and Kobe able to get back to forcing the Justice away.
Yes, Krillin coming out of a little bit of a flank here. It's 40 seconds on the clock. Really good ultimates for the Shock to use here. So they're looking to get a hold right before the end. So, wait, you have you have the Nano for potentially Kaluj here. You have a Bob. You have a duplicate in play. Nothing of note here for the Justice. I mean, what do? You do Nano Kalios, do you nano decay? You can't nano decay now because he's dead. You're in a really rough spot.
Great pick, a lot of
Can't
poke
exactly
damage.
back up here too. Like,
Another reposition from Kilo. He gets the nano as well. And now he's on the warpath. That's 2 supports to his name. A little quiet towards the middle part of the map, but here he comes alive once more at just the perfect time. The Justice looked like they were in a position to finish the entire map. The Shock put that idea down.
they still get a really good push though. Like, although they don't complete the map, I mean, they get very close, especially considering the Shock had a really good point A defense, made it really difficult on the Justice. So maybe the Justice, they get a really good hold here on their point A, put up a little bit of a better fight before point B, and they have a real shot at taking map number 2.
Yeah, I don't think anyone is convinced about San Francisco after seeing how they went there. I've got to say, though, Matt, it's been a good map for Assassin. The Genji pick for him, right, he was a little unsure about what he was going to be playing at the start of the round, right? There was Echo there as the Justice tried to adapt very quickly to what looked like a very anti-flanker composition, right? The Torpedo basically shut down the prospects of Tracer and Sombra trying to do their normal work.
And what's also interesting is that, like, we talked a little bit about in the pre-match where the Justice, where we've seen them struggle, is like trying to combo with that Sombra and Tracer, so they don't have to play it. Like, that's pretty awesome for them. Is let's see this from Assassin's POV.
I mean, I'm looking at the heroes, and I'm thinking there's a lot of tougher picks going on right now.
Yeah?
For the Justice. Assassin definitely prefers to be here than in Sombra land. Krillin is hugely impactful, and Kalios is doing a third of his team's damage on Zai.
I mean, we know he's more than capable on Zarya. As on defense here for the Justice, they'll actually have Decay stay on the Sojourn. So he's been really good at being able to, like, battle up close, survive a little bit for himself, and then also put down some really nice long-range shots on the Kilo throughout this match. Then Kalios on the Diva. And I think this is why you brought in Kaluj if you're the Shock to play the Diva here on this map. We've seen them do it in the past. Diva a little bit stronger right now. Not surprised to see it again.
Fantastic opener there from Decay, though. That's just a long-range headshot there with the railgun. Decay playing around the clock tower. Now he knows he can be a little more aggressive. Can't get one shot by Kilo. Definitely scared of Violet's orb volley, but Shock really can't gain too much ground here because they can't put much pressure on Kalios without Violet.
And just, yeah, Kilo goes down, so you're going to lose your Ashe for a little bit. The hacks keep coming down onto Kaluj, allows Decay to farm up some more energy here on the Sojourn. And this has been all Justice on this map thus far.
Really like this from Washington. This is a bit of a hybrid between sort of what we saw in the previous round. It does have Assassin on that Sombra. It will allow him to disrupt Kaluj continuously. If Decay finds picks like those, then the Justice and the Shock are going to be resetting time and time again. So here they come. Violet gets picked off by Assassin. And again, it's Krillin getting involved. And I think already, yes, the Justice are trying to wrap around a little bit as they see the Shock committing to the computer store. Kaluj very low and hacked, he can't go anywhere. This leaves Proper on somewhat of an island. Looks like he's been able to pick up his own health pack. And yeah, D-Suited Diva, not a lot of mobility to work with here for San Francisco, and Kaluj just wants to get her over with.
This is ugly for the Shock early on. I mean, the Justice just dominating the choke here is...
Got a whole team to hand the Shock their second loss of the season, the regular season. Just, oh my goodness.
I was just thinking as well, I'm like, man, like, you would think in a scenario where the Shock could potentially be facing their second loss of the season, it'd be back and forth, really hype. It's just been, like, really, like, dominance here from the Justice thus far, especially here on Eichenwald. Violet just gets blown up there. So maybe this is a saving grace, though.
Yeah, the question is what happens with Decay and Proper. I think if that kill doesn't happen, then you're happy to lose Kalios in that trade. But no, Decay is definitely scary. Proper has a Dragon Blade. There's a Nano for Finn here. And the Shock are slowly encroaching. Remember, the setup wants to be pretty incremental in how it takes space, and Opener got completely sequestered amongst Shock players there.
He nanos Krillin in, like, a fadeaway manner, right, as he's about to die. And, like, it doesn't get
the first time he's done that, right? Like, sort of questionable ults as you're dying. Maybe Opener is going to switch. Maybe. Okay.
You use... this is very confusing here from the Justice. You end up using the nano onto Krillin to make sure he lives, which kind of signals you want to, like, fight that, potentially. And then what they opt to do there is, like, Kalios gets on the point to contest, and instead of, like, following up with the Transcendence, where maybe you can actually continue to fight and maybe Opener comes back, They just kind of like let Kalios die and pop overclock, and everybody else runs away. Not the greatest end there.
Messy looks from the Justice as the Shock are able to exploit the fact. Remember, that was the Justice starting the fight off with an EMP. They actually lose. They trade 1 for 2. As Proper's able to deal with Decay in a 1v1. The latter who now is switched over to the Genji. Sombra Genji, pretty classic DPS combination.
So, in that position that Kalios is in right there, that's the one that I was talking about where like Kalush couldn't play that position as Junker Queen, right?
Right.
And that would have made it really hard for Kalios to continue playing the Zarya, where you can see the D.Va can control that space. It's a little bit, it makes it a little bit harder for the offense, right? So now you're not really worried because Kalush is playing the D.Va and can access the high ground, but those are the type of positions that would force the other team to play a tank that had a little bit more mobility.
Best we can tell there, Proper forces Kalios to peel back for a teammate, and then Kalush just jumps on top of the D.Va and they blow Kalios up there. So forcing, I guess, the Justice there to sort of give up a lot of space and expose Kalios to the entirety of the Shock. Nicely done, great setup and an easy way to clean them up here. And we haven't seen much of the
EMP?
Justice in this part of the map. Yeah, last time, Matt, it wasn't great. I mean, the Justice need to make the most of this 1.75 second window. That card is, it's dangerously close. Assassin can't EMP Violet. Violet doesn't think the pop Transcendence here, oddly enough, and it's a 1-for-1 trade. Finn's able to find Decay. The card's still moving. Self-destruct makes a bit of space. The Transcendence comes out from Krill, and Violet still has his Transcendence. Now, with the Bite Grenade on Kalush, Violet just holds on to it. Kalios, the Bob comes in, takes him out there, and somehow the Shock had to save so much into the next fight.
Dude, the Justice have played some of these fights really poorly, as now they'll have Kalios switch over to play the Zarya here towards the end of the map. There's still an opportunity here for the Justice to get a hold. They just have to be way better. They use the EMP to just kind of like burn down Proper so he doesn't get a blade off. They know he has it and opt to not connect with Violet. They don't end up using the Transcendence or the Blade, and you end up losing the fight. So it does not work out there for the Justice. Yeah.
And the Washingtons they use EMP, they use, I mean, yeah, Kalios switches here, but they use Transcendence as well so much. Oh, the Justice, they're getting completely kicked out of the map so far. Decay's down to Proper, as ever since he switched to the Genji, he's been quiet. Proper, though, anything but demanding attention as the Shock even up the series. Matt, yeah, we'll be honest, we're watching two teams navigate and develop their understandings of this new metagame, and it's providing some questionable, some interesting, sometimes humorous moments. But when it's raw execution, the Shock really hard to beat, and that's what we saw in that second half of the map. What a one-sided push.
Once they broke through at the start, which the Justice, they had a pretty good point A defense. Once they broke through the Shock, there was no stopping them. Just zero, defensive stand or really kind of strong push offered by the Justice, and the Shock just roll the payload all the way to the end and take map number 2.
Yeah, okay. Worrying signs. We talked to the Justice were on some comfort picks there, at least it looked that way, but the Shock are able to unseat them pretty comfortably. So a tied series here, heading into our quasi-halftime break. We got treated to some Tourbillon action here, so no one should be complaining from what we got, unless you're a Justice fan, in which case, carry on. We'll see you for map 3 very soon.
Cloud Lightning doesn't strike twice, has never met the San Francisco shots. Just the depth of talent on their roster that can't be denied.
Some of the most hardcore carry performances that I've ever seen.
This is going to be a wild ride.
Somehow Violet's going to come to the rescue, get a double kill. Kalu says, how about that one, Chief? See you later.
Dude, his aim is so crispy.
Finn doesn't miss those. Holy cow.
Sam straights the backline, insta-killing. Oh, Mikey!
San Francisco, the greatest team in Overwatch. All right, messy stuff on Eichenwalde, but we are now looking down the barrel of a tied series. Matt, San Francisco recover on the offense, right? A little bit slow to start, but once they get going, man, it was really one-sided. And again, I feel like both of these teams, I'm not even going to sit here and say, oh, this is classic Justice, good one map, not so good the other, because San Francisco are suffering from what appears to be a similar malady, right? Their issues in that first map aren't forgotten here, as both teams look to be struggling to find their footing in this series.
It's been a bit of a wild one. I know a lot of subs here for the Shock as Mikey will come back in for Kaluj, but Sam will not come back in. As it'll be a little bit of a different look than from map number 1. As Kilo stays in, probably for some, Ash or other long-range hit scan here. As we move to Dorado, we've seen Kalios play just about everything at this point. And Custom thought he should play Roadhog, which I was like, it's not what we need to see. Just keep him on the Diva. Keep him on the Zarya, I mean, don't let him. I mean, can you imagine if Scott was a coach? Allowing stuff like that to happen. I mean, oh man.
Well, I mean, in Scott's defense, he did suggest that it was on Oasis City Center, something that Kaluj did in sort of the kickoff clash, I think, and had some success. As we saw in like that hype video for the Shocks, who came back from break. So, you're doing the boy a little dirty there, but sure, I get it. Kalios feels like he's spinning the wheel.
No, he didn't say that. He was trolling me. He said that. He was trolling me.
So Mikey gets sub back in here, right? Feel like good chance we see plenty of Winston. The ball, we've seen a few teams try and play Wrecking Ball, into a variety of different sort of defensive setups. Well, we're middling results, I think it's safe to say. I'm not really sold on it here, but San Francisco, again, will have to deal with the Justice looking to hold this high ground and be really hard to shift. So the perennial problem you encounter as an attacking team on this map will be in effect here as well. Mikey ball switching here.
Yeah, so they will play the ball. Kilo on the Widow for now. I imagine we see... Okay, so it'll be Kilo on Tracer here. I think this is probably the lineup you have in just in case you want to go back to the long-range hit scan or maybe played on defense. Because typically, we've seen like their Tracer Genji in the past, right? We've had like Sam on Genji and Proper on Tracer because he's just so good at it. But this gives them a little bit more flexibility probably if they want to go to like something like an Ash or a Widow.
Yeah, on
down the
defense
line.
especially, right?
Yeah.
Decay there takes close range shurikens from Proper and he's forced to drop down now. Kaleo cycling between high and low grounds as you can see, and Violet getting aggressive here, but Proper, my God, Proper opens up the account. Violet backs him up there. Violet Zen, mystical thing that it is, getting involved in a big way here, and the Justice crumble after their backline gets smacked down.
Proper's just unreal. Like, how many players in the league do we have that could like, do that on Tracer on one map, end up playing a Torbjorn, right? We've seen him play some other stuff. Then just switch to the Genji and just be able to just make plays like that. There's just not many Decay, right?
To do that. I mean, I would say here in this
not
series,
to the same level.
No, he's not been able to do that. In fairness, okay, so the Justice are in
think of a player like that.
I don't know, man. There aren't many that can sort of match that.
Yeah.
Decay definitely can. He's getting a big double pulse bomb right on control, so he was able to do that, obviously with an ultimate, but Proper spots him, and again, it's the involvement of Violet as always. Violet makes sure no one goes untouched here. And Proper's going to have a pretty big game, I think. He's feeling it.
Yeah, he just always seems to be in the right spot at the right time. Comboing, following up, those Discord orbs coming in from Violet. So this just becomes so difficult for the Justice. Like, how do you play against this? What do you decide to do? 5 ultimates here available. I think you're kind of banking on Assassin with an EMP here and getting a hold.
You have to.
Because a lot like what we saw in Eichenwalde. Yeah, on Eichenwald, it was basically the Justice, as soon as they gave up that first point, they just gave up the rest of the map. You cannot afford to have a repeat of that here on Dorado.
There will be some degree of snowball. I love that. Okay, Decay did exactly what we questioned if he was able to do. So there's your
Proper
answer.
blades here.
Yep, going for it. Gets rid of Opener, but both backliners are down from the EMP, comboed with Decay. It's a nice job here. When you're seeing, we talked about this at the start of the series, right? An exciting matchup for people who love Tracer dominance. Beautiful stuff from Decay, though. That's the answer to the call that we gave.
That's a good fight for the Justice, right? You don't have a opportunity to see, you know, Finn Nano proper and let him go crazy, right? You hold on, you actually build up a Transcendence during that. You kind of stop the cart. It's actually a pretty big fight there for the Justice. And oh yeah, it's a hack on him proper and then you finish him off. So things starting to go well for the Justice.
And you voluntarily opened the window for Krillin to build up his Transcendence. He was 32% behind Violet at the start of that last fight. Great way to break some momentum here for the Justice. Now can they convert on it? Eventually they're going to have to use those ultimates. They've given themselves the chance to build up.
Kalios takes so much damage whenever we see him drop down, right? He gets hit with a Discord and just has to fly up, try and just break line of sight.
Recall there for Decay. Only one blink to work with right now, so playing a little safe for the time being. Okay, Nano for Kalios here. Spends much of his time headed to the high ground there, and probably was hoping, I think, maybe just to jump on Krillin, but Kalios was there to meet him. Tracer duel won by Kilo. Shock still trying to move this one along here. Kalios is definitely a problem. A lot of ground's been given, despite the Justice having a really good couple of fights. This is a refresh on the mech for Kalios here.
Yeah, he's going to get a lot of HP back, right? You still have Krillin with this Transcendence to use. He comes out of nowhere.
He
worries here?
He worries he dies to proper from his burst. He probably got sticky and decided just to go for it. It still works out. With Decay able to get rid of Finn there, Washington still have a pulse bomb to their name. They've only just worked through those ultimates that they'd sort of banked up, and the Shock have nothing.
Because their point A, though, was so good, the Shock, they still have a decent amount of time, right? 2 minutes here to capture this point. We can take a look from Krillin's POV. I think he gets pushed up. Oh, yeah, this is where yeah.
This is
nice,
the player
right there in
fight.
the face.
That empowered kick, man, as part of like a combo, someone gets in your face, very difficult to deal with. So here's that pivot you mentioned, right? Kilo on the Ashe now.
Yeah, this is why he would be in the lineup, right? If you were going to play what they were playing before and not ever go to this, you would have just kind of put Sam in. They get a D-Mech on a Kalios. I just don't know if it's going to be good enough, as you have a bunch of other kills being traded.
Yeah, look, at least the Shock are in a position where they can't really be pressured down. There's no mobility up outside of the Tracer Sombra for the Justice, and they're playing across the map from them. So the Shock could reset the cart position here and hope Mikey can roll in and join them pretty quickly. You can see the wireframe. He's back now. Kilo has a good perch. Assassin's been taken down. Violet just gets the pick off there. It's unclear how he's able to create the opportunity. Opener needs to find some serious value here with this Nano. Violet's playing Giga aggressively, and that's the pile driver that the Shock are looking for. Nano for Kalios once more, and he uses it to get rid of Violet, but his life may be short-lived. Building up the self-destruct just before he gets taken down is pretty big. I mean, he buys us so much time here, and it's enough for Decay to go to work.
I mean, Decay comes up clutch. I actually thought the Shock were going to be able to take that, and I thought the biggest part of why is because they got Kilo set up on the high ground on that bridge. Kalios just taking some extra damage here, allowing Opener and Krillin to build up towards their ultimate.
He just used Nano.
Yep.
Oh, man.
And he's already back up at like
66.
70%. They're doing, you see how, though, the Justice, they get up here on this high ground, they know they cannot allow Kilo to get that position again.
Transcendence had to be used there by Violet. A lot of pressure. He's able to get it off, though, after the EMP. It's a good sign. The Shock have to start pushing in. Here they go. Violet opens up again. It's a headshot on Opener. Proper returns to the card. He's hoping to make some moves here. He has a duplicate. It's going to be a Zen that he copies it. Oh, my goodness. Right in the kisser. Krillin cops that one sweep from Proper now. He still has some work to do, but the Orb of Discord now on Kalios. Gonna be able to get him out of the mech, and there's no core mech available this time around. Transcendence there for Proper to help with the pile driver, and in comes the Lucio of Violet. They can't. It's so close here, but Opener's able to find that kill on the Lucio now. Proper needs to take to the skies. Where's the rest of the Shock?
Decay.
Oh, it's the Wrecking Ball. Decay now going to try and shut down Mikey. Just get enough pressure here to force him away in overtime, and yep, that Orb of Discord gets the job done. The Washington Justice shut the Shock down in the second part of the map.
Man, with some clutch plays, too. time and time again, like with the last 2 fights, I believe Violet gets first pick on the Zen twice. I believe he gets Opener the last one, and the fight before that he got Assassin, and still able to hold on. Some really nice play from Kalios to help, deny some high ground, being able to contest the car for a while, and then Decay just doing Decay stuff, right? It's Tracer on the cart. Can they match the offensive output though, right? Can you get a really fast point A to give yourself a good opportunity there towards that second part of the map? I thought when they got Kilo set up on the high ground, those were their best looks, right? When they got Kilo and Violet up there and they were able to just kind of like rain down and force fights on the cart, that's when they looked at their best. They're the Shock on offense. On defense, it looks like they'll end up playing the ball again and Kilo on the Ashe. So you can see why he's in the game here on this map, to play that long-range hit scan, to give them that option.
So you're definitely playing a pretty risky approach here. That Wrecking Ball definitely means you want to commit to some degree, so opener there. Steve on Mikey sends that one over to Decay. Proper just gets rinsed there, and he cannot gain enough altitude to avoid getting blown up by Decay. He had to contest the card anyway. I mean, Decay right now, Matthew, 8 final blows, 4 deaths here. So he and Kalios right up there. Proper really carrying the torch for the Shock, but again, it's kind of the issue they often have, right? The next closest person has 3 final blows on that team.
It's Decay on the Widow here at the start. Just looking for a pick. Do you see the Tracer? Yep. Thinking about it? Okay, so we'll see Ashe actually. So maybe take a little bit of a slower, more methodical approach here for the Justice. Is maybe you're able to get a pick off of on a Kilo at long range, right? Or Violet here for Decay.
Mikey can't sit up there now with Decay able to wrap around and constantly put pressure on him. Changes the texture of how the Shock's defense looks on this part of the map. They had to give a lot of ground up. This is all ground they've given up that Ball could otherwise exploit here to set up dives and get into position safely.
Yes, and with Mikey taking that damage early on, right, he can't really get usage out of his adaptive shield, so it just forces him to back up. I mean, if he was trying to go in and get good value out of his shield, he would just get hacked and then, taken out even faster here. There's a nice shot there from Kilo onto Decay as Mikey does get hacked, but they're able to keep him alive.
Sets that up well with the Dynamite. Oh dear, Opener's in deep trouble right now. Gets an Orb of Harmony. Kalios gets to the rescue. Problem is there's still a Wrecking Ball in their face, and Proper's able to finish off there. Kilo doing a fantastic job. If he's not getting solo kills, setting up Proper with an easy home run.
And I wonder if you stay on this if you're the Justice. Like, is there something else you could probably go to here? Like, I wonder, I was going to say Decay actually goes to play
switched
Tracer.
to the Tracer already.
I was actually wondering if you could see him pull out the Genji as well. If you want to, like, just kind of circumvent the ball and put some more pressure on the Kilo and the supports, right? We've seen Decay playing Genji a little bit throughout the series.
I'd suggest that they want to ignore Mikey as probably much as possible. Kalios will have to peel back to help with any pile-driven targets, but that should be it, really. Proper finds Opener, goes through Krillin, who had to Transcendence there. So the Nanoblade gets some value, but it's a lot of investment for just the one final blow here, and the Shock supports get accosted. They're on an island for the rest of their team, and so here we go. On the move. Kalios pressuring Mikey away. The Shock down to only, 3 players in the vicinity here. There'll be Ball and Genji to stall. Bob comes in from Kilo here, but Kalios, man, the guy's smart. He identifies a key chance just to go chase Prop and get a kill.
And what's crazy is like, as he gets a kill on a Bob here with his self-destruct, is be a minefield that should clear out the point. This Kalios still here trying to do some work.
Violet goes down eventually, so you hope the Shock are hoping to buy some time with the Justice moving off the cart to dive them there, but Decay is successful in getting both supports now going to 11-5 against Proper's 12-7, for those that just want to keep track at home. Very close Tracer matchup here, and the Justice get going, 336 in the back pocket.
And what's interesting to me, man, is like Kalios looks so good on this Diva. We've seen him obviously play the Junker Queen in the Summer Showdown. We know what he does on Zarya. Like, why even mess with some of those Doom comps, right? You can, like, kind of avoid them. Like, you don't need to play them. It's not like that's, like, the go-to for teams where you can kind of avoid that type of setup and put him in positions like this where he looks incredible. As and you hold on to this EMP, maybe you can use it to get some high ground control here. I think you just have to figure out how you work Decay up to that high ground.
Assassin there got detected for a moment. I love that little hop skip over the ledge, though. Here's the EMP. It catches all 5, and Violet just blows up.
Kalios happy to
You
drop
don't even
down
need
for
anything
now.
after that.
Yeah, just take the card progress, right? Kalios is unbothered about this as well. It's just a slight wrinkle in his plans. Dive the heck out of Finn. And what does Mikey do? Nothing. That's just how little defensive utility Wrecking Ball has. Just ignore him. Kill the person standing behind him. No dramas.
And just like how you saw earlier on in the series when they had that difficult kind of keeping Violet alive, he switches over to the Brig, so they'll play the Brig on it here at the end if the Justice have blitzed through this last part of the map.
San Francisco trying to get aggressive as defenders, looking for a dive target in the back line, but Krillin basically makes that untenable. Here come the Shock to have one last crack at this one, but it's looking pretty dire. Violet's been taken down and Decay's avoiding any scrutiny of his own in the back line, dodging around Finn, and that was just easy. The Justice, the better team on Dorado, as the Shock look average, and that's being nice about it.
And the Shock, it seems like they just seem to have a little bit of difficulty trying to get to these compositions that can be advantageous for them, trying to make these subs to make it work with the Justice. And, you know, you can play a lot of different things with the lineup that they have in, and it is looking good for Washington.
Justice in there. Wheelhouse right now. Kalios showing off some fantastic, I guess, game sense, really, enabling his team to take advantage of the smallest opening. And now for the Shock, yeah, they really need to wake up. Whatever it takes, they need to get back in this series or it's going to be all over come map 4.
will make it through the Countdown Cup. The clock is ticking, ladies and gentlemen. Share your art celebrating the team you'd like to see move on to the playoffs for a chance to be featured on broadcast and the Overwatch League fan art gallery. This matchup is definitely resembles postmodern splash art or something completely inscrutable that you really can't make heads or tails of, if I had to make some sort of reference to art, because I don't really know what's going on. All I can tell you is that the Washington Justice are the better team right now, and San Francisco just got completely rolled.
Like it's the beginning of a new tournament. It's the beginning of a new meta, right? A lot of things still in flux. It seems like, though, the Justice have a really good handling of this, where the Shock thus far, it's not like, you know, the maps that the Shock won, right? That map number 2, that was really close, right? You know, the Justice played pretty well on that one, except on point A defense. The rest of their defense, not so much. Oasis was really, you know, the first and the last point were like pretty all Justice. You know, that middle point, the Shock kind of dominated, and then Dorado, I thought the Justice kind of handled business, you know, pretty handily, right? Where, yeah, it's odd to see the Shock kind of look like this in a series, but there's a lot of moving parts in this meta, and I think the one thing you see is, like, you know, sometimes, like, you know, Kalios maybe, you know, switching a lot in the tank role of, like, what he's doing, but it looks like this meta is gonna have a lot of requirements from the tank role of being able to switch to different things at different times, right? To take advantage of the situation.
These teams have really different play styles on Dorado. You know, Mikey is looking to be facilitator, right? Set up for the dive, and he does, right? We have a classic San Francisco Shock losing map where Proper has more than half the team's final block. So you can see that whatever Proper is trying to do, he's mostly able to do it. The thing is, in a matchup like this, he has to go even further beyond that. You've got players like, you know, Decay, who apparently don't need a whole lot of setup. Just go in and sort of combine really nicely with the likes of Kalios, Krillin, and such. So there's a lot going right now, I think, for this Justice team. It's a great time. It's when you want to be peaking here, and yeah,
it's
really
also
impressed with their open.
It's also difficult to judge teams this early on, right? What we saw the Justice, they took like one map off of Dallas earlier in the week and then lost, right? In that series where they played a lot of like Edison and Doha. Let's say they come in here and they actually take care of business and they put away the Shock here in this 4th map. Like, we could be looking back in, you know, what, 3 weeks time, 4 weeks time. It's like those 3 teams being like the best teams like for this type of meta, right? Sure. That's entirely possible. We just don't know yet. Where you kind of look at this match right now, you're like, oh man, like 17-1 and 18-8 and 11, right? That's a huge upset, but you know, kind of in the context of how things are going right now with the meta, we don't know. These could be 2 of the better teams we have in the league at this type of play style. So it is still impressive, though, for the Justice to come in and, even if in a losing effort, right, play this type of way against a team like the Shock.
Still more to be shown here, I'm certain. The Shock, much like the Spitfire at times, still seem pretty invested in this Wrecking Ball-based composition. So again, they'll have an opportunity to demonstrate to us why they think it's so effective. Here they come out the gates here. It will be Proper on the Tracer once more.
We're getting a battle cattle for the win here from the Justice.
So how do you think...
So
I mean, look, as Wrecking Ball, you can ignore the Orisa, right? Like, Kalios really has to demand some attention here.
Yeah, and I wonder, like, can you just kind of play the neutral, right? Just like basically wait on to the, because we saw, I believe it was like the London Spitfire when they were running the ball on this map. We were kind of like, this isn't the greatest map for ball, right? Where maybe you can actually play a little bit more stationary if you're Kalios, play on the objective, and just have them, you know, just kind of have Mikey be forced to come to you, and there it is in the middle of the street. They just take him out. It's not a lot of great spots for ball to go here. I actually thought Mikey was staying in, if I'm honest. I thought he was staying in to play like Winston here on this map. Likewise. I didn't think that they would actually come out with the ball. I thought that they would try and play like maybe some like, you know, Winston, Tracer, Genji type of look here at the start. Did not expect them to go with the Ashe and the ball.
I feel like, yeah, Assassin, as soon as that hack comes in on the Wrecking Ball, it's very tough for Mikey to get away from all the pressure when Kalios just swings a corner and starts to just pummel him there with that fusion driver. Better start to the fight, though, and it opens up with the backlines of the Justice being decimated here. So Very good progress to be made for the Shock back in their direction, but we want to keep an eye on here how they get value out of Mikey or what the win condition appears to be for the Shock.
Yeah, and Assassin has built up that EMP already as Kalios does not want to play the Orisa anymore. You go and play the D.Va, and look, they've had success in this mirror matchup of compositions where they've been able to play the D.Va, the Tracer, and the Sombra, and you've had the Shock play the Ashe with the Wrecking Ball on the other side. As a little bit of progress here for San Francisco on their barrier, not as much. As the Justice, as Callie has taken some big damage here, trying to hide, and that's going to be the EMP.
Yeah, Decay was already there. He was waiting. Assassin burns Kilo down now, and Mikey can only hide with that Discord orb taped to him. It's like a sign that says, kick me, and so Decay does. It's an easy fight for the Justice. Again, the Shock seem a little listless. Again, if they start well...
Violet.
Yep, they're going to go for this. It's an odd one. It's an odd one, Matt.
And I was going to say maybe have Violet switch over to the Brick, but he's got a Transcendence, so you're not going to do that. So Finn will play the Batiste, so you'll have the Batiste in play now. So that'll probably just kind of keep Violet alive, where maybe we see a swap kind of from Violet after that. But the Justice very close to getting that first checkpoint.
Assassin behind Finn gets the hack. Isn't able to get enough purchase on those shots there to really pressure an elimination, but still. Also doesn't pressure the Immortality field after the hack expires, so it's maybe what he was hoping for. Very long cooldown ability. Kilo is the man with the 3 final blows right now. Let's keep an eye out for him to open up these fights.
He seems to be coming alive a little bit here on the Ashe, being able to pick up Decay a few times at the long to medium range as Calio steps up and just contests for a little bit. Oh, the Transcendence just a second late there from Violet.
Yeah, and again, that was another hack. So it's pretty clear to see what Assassin's trying to do. Hack Finn, put pressure on him. You either get the kill if Decay's there or someone else, or you force the Immortality field really hard there for it to be an issue. So Finn has just switched to the Baptiste here, and it's going to take him quite a while to build up any sort of meaningful ult charge.
And this is where you would love, I mean, I was just going to say, this is where you love, like, Mikey if he was on the D.Va, right? Like, where's the defense matrix to peel there? You see Proper at the end. He gets Krillin really low. Obviously, Decay there, but Decay can't mitigate any of that damage. As Callius comes in with the defense matrix and able to soak up some of that, and they're able to deal with Proper. Just not offering any of that on the Wrecking Ball.
Yeah, Ball's not necessarily a selfish hero, right? But he just does nothing to protect his teammates. Just go around him or through him in some cases. That's the Immortality field. Finn at least is able to get that off before he dies this time around. Proper's Pulse, though, gets Krillin. Still, he has to trade his life for it with a Pulse that doesn't feel good at all. Mikey's grapple, wayward as it is, gives some space for the Shock to set up now behind that minefield.
Yeah, the mines are just kind of like blocked off the ability to push up and get onto the checkpoint, so buys him a little bit of space. Decay now goes away from Tracer and play the Sojourn, which is interesting. I thought he's been playing pretty has had good Sojourn games in this series as well, as get that early pick. You think you can get the bot back going in your direction if you're Washington. And we're almost halfway through this game, and the Justice look to be, in a prime position to close this one out here.
Assassin is instigating in a fantastic way, Matt. If it's not Finn getting pressured down, it's just Kilo exploding there. He switches to the Sojourn, so maybe fancies some more mobility, some defensive options here. Decay already showing what he can do on that hero, not that we didn't know that already. Kilo run out of spawn only to die again to Assassin.
And Finn uses that Amp Matrix up there on the high ground, and it's some shots from Decay on through that end up taking out Finn, and then the Amp Matrix is just there. I mean, Violet trying to protect him, and Kalios goes right over the top of the subway bridge there and able to take out Violet. So another really good play here from the Justice. Is what are they trying to do? Are they trying to like farm up an EMP here to use to maybe get this one over the line? As Kilo switches to the Sojourn and takes out Krillin. So you think you have to back up now, as every time the Justice get close to taking this checkpoint, they just lose a player early.
Yeah. Kilo is still having a good game despite the amount of pressure that Assassin is pouring on here. Bear in mind, the Justice didn't get the checkpoint. For those that don't know what checkpoint is, it's the butt scratch. I just say checkpoint for Avril's benefit. 33 and counting now, the Shock. Man, we need to see something from them here. Again, like an opening pick, Kilo, the one they're looking to a lot of the time here to get things started. It's hard to know what Mikey's sort of objectives are, right? We often sort of see him sort of midway through or transitioning from one point to another. Like, they want to be the counter divers here, so they give up the bot, Matt. They let Kalios take control. Who gets a nano now and is putting so much pressure up on this high ground? Finn can't abscond from that tooth before Decay blows one through his head.
Yeah, so they're trying to keep Kilo alive. Violet there as well, and they're just not able to do so. As D.Va gets a little bit of a nice shots here from DK. D.Va gets a bit of a buff in terms of like the micro rockets, you know, and obviously some booster damage there, and you just see that just was already such a strong like 1v1 brawler as a tank, even stronger now, I believe. And there's that checkpoint that you were talking about.
An EMP for Assassin here to keep the good times coming. No, Violet's able to see it. Obviously can't interrupt it, but is able to blow Assassin up instantly. And that's a pretty good response from the Shock there. They're able to shrug that key ultimate off pretty comfortably.
They get the checkpoint, though. That's massive for the Justice. Even if you end up giving up some space here, I think you still have another fight on the objective. Some ultimates to be able to use here for the Shock that they can actually kind of match. But it'll be big when the Justice get the bot going the other way.
Probably having some difficulty against this backline and Kalios' ability to protect it. But there it is, an opener from Kilo this time. Again, providing quite a few in this match, standing up as the top DPS for the Shock. And San Francisco now getting to a position where they might be able to equalize, but the bot's contested sort of during that fight. That'll slow their progress up a little bit. Kalios is actually going to get away with that potentially. If opener can get out of spawn, oh, is that a self-destruct to get the mech back? Hard to say.
It doesn't look like he uses the self-destruct. It looks like he's actually holds on to it as Assassin will get on here and contest for a little bit.
I can't believe this.
Yeah, the Justice things are just falling apart.
The Shock just effortlessly get back in the game there, Matt.
I mean, just a lot of mistakes from the Justice, right? No, now Matrix goes down. Decay still trying to go out and fight, you know, against Kilo. It's not entirely over though, right? No, the Shock, they do have more meters here pushing up, as that's a nice hack on the Mikey as he's coming down. That'll be a nano there on the Krillin. You're still, you know, you get the bot going in your way. If you're the Justice, you already got that checkpoint, so you're in a good spot.
Both teams have it though, which means we get a more volatile overtime potentially. Krillin got nanoed there inside the minefield. We'll use the Transcendence in this fight as well. Always an offensive threat. And now the Justice are on the push, and you're right, Matt. Again, they don't have to sit there for 5 seconds after they get the next checkpoint.
It just looked like the Justice, they were, you know, they would get the bot in position to actually, you know, have a good proper offense, and they would back up a little bit, trying to like farm for some ultimates where they just needed to go. You know, they're winning this series right now by just being the aggressive team and taking it to the Shock, where they're trying to slow it down, play a little bit different. Not working out for them.
Here it is, Kilo's trying to get a Krillin. Kalios was in the way for a time. The bot is back to neutral territory at the moment. Finamaki a little bit low here. Oh, the self-destruct to get the Wrecking Ball. Kalios, cheeky stuff. Violet's starting to realize, hang on, this D.Va still needs to be dealt with, gang. Kalios able to buy a bunch of time here for the Justice, but they're going to come back with 4. This needs to be a big EMP. They might have to win this fight without Kalios.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. 15 seconds left. You think he might be able to get back into this fight? Is Assassin just watching where Mikey and Proper gets hacked on Proper? Oh,
that could be big. 3 seconds left until overtime now. Haven't had to use the EMP. Decay hoping to win the fight here, make it kind of cheap, but the pressure from Mikey is a little bit frightening for him. Backing up, but no one's there to help Decay. Still, he's able to hold his own ground as Assassin falls. Assassin fell, by the way, with EMP. This is getting desperate now for the Washington Justice. Somehow, some way, the Shock have got back into the game. Just ridiculous. Forcing the map 5. What an absolutely insane match.
They held on to that EMP for so long, like trying to find the perfect opportunity to use it. Hell, they probably could have 2 EMPs. In that amount of time. They probably could have used one earlier, and then I got another one. As I just felt like the Justice played themselves a little bit there, as that is one that potentially they could have won that they gave away, and you can't do that against teams like the Shock. They come back in these game 5s and take advantage of it.
The Justice look good for 90% of that round, Matt, but they let the Shock in, and they get punished for it. That's a tough one to bounce back from, but they're going to have to bounce back all the same as map number 5 looms large around the corner. Don't go anywhere. This one, this could go either way. I have no idea what to expect, guys. It's kind of wacky out here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, for the 5th consecutive time, these two teams have gone to a map 5. That's right. Going all the way back to the going all the way back to the bloody 2020 playoffs. It is a contractual obligation for these two teams that they play maximum
certified
Overwatch.
bangers.
Certified, boy, it's something. There's no doubt about it. San Francisco there struggle again with their wrecking ball-based composition, Matt, to get much going. Kilo is able to, find a couple of key picks, right? But he switches around a bunch. Like he starts the round on Ash there, and definitely gets pressured very heavily by Assassin Sombra, who has a fantastic map. Well, at least most of it is. Switches then to the Sojourn, and all of a sudden, things start to click. It still requires Justice to take the game, package it up, put a bow on it, and present it to the Shock above their head as a burn offering in order for San Francisco to
really
win.
good minutes to Justice. The issue is it's 10. So let's see if they can actually kind of battle back here in this 5th game. I'm a bit scared we see them maybe go back to that Doomfist stuff from map number 1, if you remember. Wouldn't really love that. The Shock, they stay with Mikey, so you think theoretically, right, you're kind of dwindling down if you're the Justice, the compositions to either Winston or Ball comps. You would think maybe some Orisa, right, from Mikey. But you would think it's really going to be kind of mainly those two. Potential for this. So, we haven't seen much, but, the Reinhardt with the Batiste and the Lucio, Kilo on the Cassidy, this is an entirely possibility, right? With, you put prop run, like, whether it's like a Genji or a Tracer here, right? That's a possibility.
All right. Yeah, you suspected, when we talked in the break, we said, I feel like, Doomfist from the Justice, right? And I'm thinking, okay, well, I haven't seen that much in this series. If they full send, that would be kind of crazy. Trying it is. Here we go. The Justice have Kalios on the Diva. It's Mikey on the Reinhardt.
And this is something that the Justice can't really match, right? I mean, Kalios is traditionally an off-tank player. They did have Mag on the roster now on the Boston Uprising, where he was kind of known for playing a lot of these heroes. So it would be interesting to see Kalios have to switch over, but the Cassidy, we've seen it already a little bit.
Easy Han?
Yeah, seen it a little bit in Owl. I actually thought that Cassidy would be a pretty strong pick coming into this tournament. Just the Justice just run them over there at the start, where the downside of the Cassie raid is if you're looking at for the Justice POV, like, all right, we need to find a dive target, and who's it going to be? You would think that Mikey's already going to switch. The Immortality field used for the Reinhardt, right? If you put pressure on him, allow the Cassie to free fire.
Who's he hitting on the Justice? Like, who is Mikey
exactly
hitting? This is such a pointless comp to play.
I was saying back to the Cassidy, like, you kind of it creates an easy dive target there for the Justice, where Kilo is not going to hit those shots and make them pay.
He can't. There's a defense matrix up his nose.
Right?
Like he just can't.
So now you go to this. Right. So now you go to the Sojourn. So this provides you a little bit more of an escape if you're Kilo.
Still though, hot start for Decay. 3-0 he is. He knows where that Batiste is sat. Keeping a little bit of a distance from Violet here, but still keeping that pressure on constantly. Violet forcing to look front and back here to deal with oncoming threats. Decay taking a moment to duel here. Comes off second best, forced to recall. But the Justice no closer to being shifted off the point.
A long time without a kill. I mean, I think it's just because the Justice realized they don't have to go directly into the Shock. And sure, it's a pulse bomb from Proper, but everybody else is dead. As with this type of comp, the Shock, they need to be the ones that get on the offensive with that ball, right? They have to be the aggressor, and the Justice are okay with it, because a lot like what we saw, and I was talking about on the last map, like New Queen Street, is like Kaleo is able to provide some offense with the Diva, and then also really good defensive peel with the defense matrix. Like Mikey can't provide any of that. It's really just Finn and Violet out there on their own.
Yeah. I mean, the Shock have more healing than the Justice, but only 1 kill. So it's not like they're going up against this ridiculous healing they can't get through. Proper finds his second, the Shock second. Decay catches him there. I don't know how he finds that. 99% and counting here. Still pretty scary for San Francisco. The Immortality field is in play. Finn is low, and Decay is done for now.
So they get an Amp Matrix in play, and they're able to win the fight off of the back of that. So the Justice, what do? You have Opener here. He's going to get close to a rally match. Can you clear off the point with the self-destruct? We've kind of seen Kalios. Actually, he's been able to pick up a few kills with the self-destructs throughout this series. Like, really kind of like odd body blocking type of manners. I think if you're the Justice, you're probably looking at this as like a little bit of somewhat of a junk fight, right? Before a fight where you really have a good chance with an EMP.
They will rally though still. They're not too bothered about waiting out this overclock. That's gone now. So yeah, that self-destruct you mentioned still in play. Kalios maybe expecting to have to deal with a pulse bomb at some point from Proper.
Not the worst, right? You trade, if you're the Justice, you trade your rally for their rally into overclock. I mean, not the worst trade.
Good minefield though. Kalios knocked out of mech there, and in the meantime, Krillin gets blown up. Kalios able to get back in the mech at the very least, but they're so split. Yeah, Opener you see fell off the ledge there, and now the Justice are at risk of giving the Shock something to go on. Assassin going to be coming back with the EMP, you'd think, but San Francisco are already up to 65.
And now that Kalios gets demacked, like, what do you do? Do you try and jump off the side? Is he going to try and farm this back up? Gonna have to go back and make a switch.
Oh, I don't know. Have a switch.
You just use self-destruct, so you're not close, right?
Yeah. It's fine. It's just as
this
easy
EMP has to be good.
87%.
You need to get a kill or two off of this.
The Justice again, a hot start. 99-0 it basically was. It's justiciable, I suppose. Probably holding that pulse bomb from the previous fight. Assassin got spotted. Violet dead though. Straight away, DK able to find the first pick, and Kilo is hacked for the most part. Still able to find a way to slide away, and inside the Immortality kill. What a stick. DK lobs that one upstairs. Finn eats it. And the Justice there, okay. They get it done. They let the Shock back in. They bide their time, and they come up with a great result. Proper's pulse bomb, yeah, the one he held onto, that got eaten by Kalios there. So the Justice finished the round in style. You can't really complain about that. Start well, bit of oddness in the middle, finish well.
I just love that pulse bomb from Decay, because you could actually see, like, he kills the immortality field and just kind of like thinking, like, can I do this? And just jumps up and launches it and just walks right close to the edge and gets close enough to be able to take it out. These comps are wildly different than what we've seen thus far. Let's take a look here. So this is from the case POV. You can actually see, like, can I get close enough? Yeah, it's just right close to the edge.
At least Finno backs away. Kilo, I mean, I could have sworn they'd both go down to that. Kilo at least able to find a kill, but...
So the Justice want to play, like, really aggressive with this Orisa. The Orisa May Reaper setup. So, okay, Proper gets taken out instantly. There's an Immortality field there as well, so...
Washington.
Not sure how that happens.
What a great start. Again, converting on this would be huge. The Shock need to figure out what they're going to do about the Reaper. How do they set Kilo up? Put him in a position to actually get value out of any of that mid to long range damage.
Let's see, they're going to have to give up the point here as Finn takes a big shot there. I think from Assassin.
Oh, they're caught. Oh, it's a disaster. Finn trying to hide behind the bulk of Mikey. Decay gets taken down by the Orisa, but I don't think they're worried at all. Mikey may...
This is how...
Oh, he can get away.
Yeah, he's got to run. This is how I think Orisa is the most effective here in Overwatch 2, where theoretically you've thought of her as just kind of like stand in the corner, put a shield down, and just wait. Way more offensive here in Overwatch 2, where you combo the Orisa with a Lucio, right? And you see, you know, both Mikey and Kalios get into the mix, right? They're spinning the spears, they're trying to pin people up against walls, like way more of an aggressive play style.
Oh, that's huge. And another wall. They just keep walking into it, Matt. This is exactly what the Justice did last time. The Shock again get caught. This is very, very bad for them. I mean, they're now down half a round's worth. They're going to be walking into the same idea. And the Shock have to ask themselves, right, well, we know we're going to get walled off. We don't have Lucio. Yeah, we're changing up our composition here. Ball now for Mikey is if that is going to be what solves their issues here against a really brawl-oriented Justice setup.
Oh, he almost
Yeah, he almost fell off.
for a second. Yeah.
I think the Shock are a little rattled. Mikey, I think he spotted Assassin hiding there. You can call that out. He's down to half. Eats that spear.
What is it? What is this?
Yeah, not sure.
You get a long-range flanking Blizzard here in a Game 5 scenario.
So it doesn't work.
Doesn't work out. Terra Surge here?
Yes. Here's the Terra Surge. Everybody, using their mobility to get away from the epicenter of that ability. So Kalios has to cancel it. Kilo gets caught there. Maybe unaware what Kalios can do to him from that low ground. He's connecting these spears quite nicely. The rally is there, but Washington Justice take the series away. Exploiting a moment of weakness here for the San Francisco Shock and finding some strength of their own. Kalios, whether it's the Diva, whether it's the Orisa, they find success to Justice in a very messy series. But look, they finish in style, and sometimes, Matt, that's all that matters.
And honestly, obviously we don't have like favorites, pick favorites. I am happy that Justice actually ended up winning this game because I actually think throughout the entirety of the series, like they were the better team.
Sure.
Now they fumbled the bag a little bit here and there, right? As sometimes happens. But I think if you looked at the totality of the series, they were the better team here today. Yeah. And they come up clutch there in that Game 5. Some really good comps planned out that the Shock were not able to adapt to. And you see when the Justice can play these types of, whether it's like Diva, Orisa, Zarya comps, they can be really strong.
Yeah, and look, I think we're yet to really see just why the Wrecking Ball comp for the Shock is so desirable, right? They weren't able to make it work against, whether it's Diva or whether it's Orisa or whatever sort of hero Kalios was playing. He was able to have a lot of impact. Yeah, classically, Proper is able to do a great job of finding these openings and try to exploit them, but you have Decay doing at least as well on the other side, and there's so many other threats on the side of the Justice here. Really impressive stuff from Washington. Let's talk about our player of the match here. Someone who's definitely known for his aggressive style. It is going to be Kalios from the Washington Justice. Fantastic Diva play. He's right in his wheelhouse here, Matt, as well. Obviously, Zai is another option for him. What a great time for him to be here. And, geez, the stars really aligned for the Justice, didn't they? Downsizing their team, limiting some of their options, and they walk into a meta that works perfectly for who they have right now.
And I also think it's quite important in, Kalios gets player of the match here today. I think he was really strong on the Diva and the Zarya when we saw him, and then the Orisa at the end. But I think also just the ability that they don't have to make, they don't have any subs, right? But they wouldn't have to make any subs to play everything here. With Kalios in the lineup, you're able to keep him in and play everything that you would want to do. And you just have way more flexibility on the fly. To where if you look at the Shock, right, where they want to play the Diva or things like that, like you have to bring Collusion, but then Collusion is not playing the ball, or he's not playing the Reinhardt or Winston, right, in those type of scenarios where you can have Kalios come in and play all of that. And I think it's something we talked about ages ago, right? But Brad with the Atlanta Reign was like, hey, look, we want to focus all our time on like Hawk being able to learn all of the tanks. And I think at the time we all agreed, like, hey, that's a great decision. Nothing on Gator, but I think you see like where teams have done that, especially here like in a matchup like this, and you see the Justice being able to play all these different looks without making any subs, and Kalios plays it that well. It's a huge addition to a team.
If you told me that it would be the Washington Justice to hand the Shock their second regular season loss, I'd be completely in disbelief. But that is what's happened here today. And like you said, Shock.
Well,
look, I'm putting it out there.
Yeah.
The Washington Justice looked great. Not all the time, but when it counted, the Shock did not look good at all. And there's going to be a lot of
this series though
about that team.
The Justice do win this series. I'm happy they win the series because I thought they were a better team all throughout the series. They could have 3-0'd this though. Like, this could have been a 3-0 series. Like, it's like obviously we can celebrate now, but they also gave away some maps they definitely could have won, which you would have lost this series, potentially the Justice. It would have looked really bad, when you went back and looked on it. I think for them, you're going to have the conversation like, hey, we have to, shore up some of these kind of decision makings and things at time, whether it be on a map like Eichenwald or on New Queen Street, because these series against these top teams, we can actually put them away in 3-4 games. You don't have to always sweat and go to these Game 5s.
Yes, of course. I mean, again, that is the tradition between these two teams. We're going to head to a break. We're going to come back. We're going to hear from Kalios of some choice words, I'm sure, about this huge win against the Shock.
거점에 형 와볼래?
와봐. 애쉬 볼게 그러면.
거점 먼저 나봐줘.
애쉬 윗점프인데?
어디 있어? 어디 왔냐?
그래 여기.
나 파티 잠그고 있어. 나 파티 잠그고 있어.
거점 봐줘 얘들아.
애쉬 떨고
애쉬
왔어.
필.
불피.
브리 갈랐어.
야 좋았다.
불피.
브리안.
살게. 살려줘.
몇어? 브리. 신나 존나 좋아.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Upper Deck, the official trading card of the Overwatch League, and by TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League.
Welcome to Game Break, everybody. I'm here joined now by the player of the match, Kalios from Washington Justice. Kalios, what a great match. You guys are the second team to beat the San Francisco Shock in the regular season. I just want to hear, this was very close match, but at the end, you guys did get the win. So how'd you guys get it done? What gave you guys the edge today over the San Francisco Shock? 자, 오늘 승리를 축하드리면서 일단 굉장히 큰 의미가 있는 승리라고 생각을 합니다. 왜냐면 또 이제 상대방이 센쇼이고 이제 워싱턴 팀이 이번 정규 시즌에서 센쇼를 이긴 두 번째 팀이 됐기 때문에 좀 더 값진 승리라고 생각을 합니다. 오늘 승리 좀 어떻게 이루어지게 되셨나요?
일단 기본적으로 저희 전략 전술이 조금 더 우위에 있었다고 생각을 하고요. 그간 비슷한 상황이었는데 저희 애들이 조금 침착함 내지는 그런 마무리 짓는 뒤끝이 모자라서 졌다고 생각하는데 오늘은 괜찮았던 것 같습니다.
그 처음에 전략이 어떠셨다고 했죠? 죄송합니다. 잘 안 들려가지고 한 번만 다시
전략 전술이 저희가 조금 더 우위에 있다고 생각해요. 조금 더 위에 있다고 생각합니다.
알겠습니다. Alright. I think what gave us the edge is the fact that our strategies and our, I guess, mentals or how we played the game or how we went into the game was a lot better than what San Francisco Shock had planned. Other than that, I think everything else was we were on this sort of similar level, similar playing field. But another big thing for us was that we were able to stay calm and carry out our plan and strategies. And I think that was a huge part of us getting the win against San Francisco Shock. Not only that, I think another interesting thing for the Washington Justice is that I think I saw Kalios, you specifically, make a lot of hero changes, hero swaps throughout the whole series. I think throughout this whole meta, we are seeing a lot more hero changes, and that is exciting. But you, I believe, especially made a lot more than everyone else. Was there a specific reason to that? 자, 두 번째 질문은 오늘 지금 현 메타나 지금 현 스테이지에서도 뭐 칼리오스 선수뿐만이 아니라 많은 선수들이 이제 좀 이렇게 영웅 교체를 많이 하고 있는 상황이긴 하지만은 제가 봤을 때는 오늘 칼리오스 선수가 특히나 좀 더 많은 이렇게 교체를 한 것 같아요. 좀 그거에 대한 이유가 좀 있을까요?
일단 현재 메타 상에서는 뽀리랑 둠피를 제외한 다른 챔피언들은 고만고만하다고 생각을 하고 그 다음은 상대방이 이제 로스터를 보면 어느 정도 조합 예측이 가능하기 때문에 그에 반하는 카운터 조합을 좀 많이 들고 왔던 것 같습니다.
오케이. 방금 볼, 둠 빼고는 다른 영웅들은 좀 이제 비슷비슷하다라고 말씀을 하셨죠?
네네네네.
Okay. All right. So Kalios says that, other than Ball and Doom, every other, I guess, tank heroes, they're sort of on the same level. And because of that, there's a lot more, I guess, emphasis on the counters to whoever you are playing. So that is why there are more hero changes that we're seeing currently. And I mean, talking about the hero changes and talking about all these tank heroes, Kalios, I think this is a little bit more, I feel like it will be more difficult for you because you're the only tank player for the Washington Justice. Do you believe that is true, or are you just like not having any problems at all? 자, 방금 이제 탱커 어떻게 보면 영웅들 좀 얘기를 해서 하나 더 질문을 하자면은 이제 워싱턴의 유일한 탱커 플레이어로서 우리 또 칼리오스 선수가 좀 이렇게 좀 많은 영웅들을 다뤄야 하는 상황이 오면 좀 이거에 대한 좀 이제 힘든거나 좀 이런 거는 없으신가요?
사실 1, 2년 전부터 오버워치 2에는 탱커가 줄어든다라는 소식을 들었을 때부터 메인탱 챔피언까지 메인탱 영웅들까지 이제 준비를 하고 있었기 때문에 엄청나게 큰 어려움은 없다고 생각을 하고요. 또한 신챔이나 대규모 리워크가 이루어졌던 챔프들에 대해서는 저희 코치님이나 저 뒤에 따로 도와주시는 형들이 되게 잘 가르쳐주고 계셔가지고 전혀 문제 없었던 것 같습니다. 앞으로도 없을 것 같고요.
Definitely, I don't think I had any problems, and I don't think in the future I won't be having any problems, because even before Overwatch 2 was released, when I first heard the news that it was going to be one tank, I think I was ready and I was prepping for that moment of being one tank sort of game. So I was, from that moment when I first heard the news, I started prepping and sort of grinding out the main tank heroes as well. And not only that, for the new heroes in the future and heroes that are going to be reworked or that has been we worked. I always got my coaching staff and also the people behind the camera that are willing to help get us the win. So I am not worried, and I do not think I will be worried in the future as well. All right, last but not least, Callius, you told me that before this interview that you had some things that you wanted to say, so I'm just gonna open the floor and let you do your thing. 자, 마지막으로 이제 방금 칼리오스 선수가 인터뷰 시작하기 전에 좀 하실 말씀이 있다고 들어서 지금 이제 칼리오스 선수에게 말씀할 기회를 드리도록 하겠습니다. 해주세요.
일단 시즌이 되게 많이 지났는데 승자 인터뷰에 처음 이렇게 인사를 드리게 돼서 반갑고요, 여러분. 늘 응원해주시는 팬분들에 감사하고요. 또 한 가지는 되게 다사다난했는데 잘 버텨준 우리 팀원들한테 고맙다는 말 하고 싶습니다.
All right, so I mean, we are almost towards the end of the season, but I guess this is sort of my first time winning an interview, winning and also having an interview at the same time. So I just want to say nice to meet you all to the camera, and thank you so much to the fans, and most importantly to our teammates who were sticking with me throughout the whole, what's the word? Sorry, guys. Whole journey. There you go. Thank you, Costa. And that is all I have to say. All right, Callios, thank you so much for the interview and big congratulations on the win again. 자, 인터뷰 오늘 너무나도 감사드리면서 보내드리도록 하겠습니다. 감사합니다. 바이바이.
바이바이.
Thank you.
I got you.
That was clutch. If you didn't tell me that word,
What?
How did he know?
that word, if you didn't tell me, I would have been stuck there for another like 5 seconds and it would have been bad. But anyways,
He's so
thanks
wholesome.
much.
It's so
He
nice.
is. He is. That was a very nice. I mean, and of course, this match. Who would have guessed that the Washington Justice would beat the San Francisco Shock? And they looked good, right, guys?
Yeah, they looked really good in this meta. I mean, it was like what we said in the pre-show, right? Like when the Washington Justice, when they're allowed to play their best heroes, what they excel at, like for example, Decay on the Tracer, like some of the pulse bombs to kick things off here. On Oasis, Kalios on the Diva, of course, creating an opener, they were solid in the backline. So there are really two ways to look at this matchup, in my opinion. First of all, you can be like, the San Francisco Shock, did they give themselves the best opportunity to win with Mikey playing the Wrecking Ball? I think that is going to be the big question stemming from this game, especially if you're a San Francisco Shock fan. But that aside, I think you also have to give credit to the Washington Justice and just be like, wow, what an impressive feat for this team, There are only 5 players as of right now. They're trying to make the most out of this season and trying to end on a high note. And I want to give these players credit for still trying and still pushing themselves so hard.